In-depth analysis, exploiting the fuel tank and set-piece resilience in Manchester United's comeback victory against Crystal Palace, 1-2. Manchester United just achieved the unbelievable. Selhurst Park, a fortress undefeated for 12 games, was conquered by set pieces and an empty fuel tank. Palace ran out of gas, Man United roared back, and the match exploded in 9 minutes of madness. You have to read this analysis to understand why. Context and stakes. The match, belonging to the 13th round of the 2025-2026 Premier League season on Sunday, November 30, 2025, between Crystal Palace, CP, and Manchester United, MU, was crucial for both teams in the race for European competition spots. For the Red Devils, pressure on coach Ruben Amorim had peaked after a disappointing 0-1 home loss to Everton, despite the opponents being down to 10 men, ending a 5-match unbeaten streak and fueling criticism of the tactical system. Conversely, Crystal Palace entered the game in high form, especially at home, where they maintained a 12-match unbeaten run, their longest in the Premier League. Oliver Glasner's side was fifth on the table and showed no fear. However, this form came with a major question mark over player fitness, as Palace had just returned from an away trip to France to face Strasbourg in the Conference League on Thursday. Historically, Palace has been a bogey team for MU, winning 3 of the last 4 encounters, all 3 victories coming with a clean sheet. The tactical setup and pre-match strategy. Both managers, Oliver Glasner and Ruben Amorim, opted for a 3-4-3 formation, leading to a direct, man-marking, and challenging encounter. Players were expected to engage in constant one-on-one duels across the pitch, where individual brilliance and work rate would decide the outcome. In his pre-match statement, Coach Glasner clarified his tactical view, emphasizing that philosophy is not the system, but rather the habits and patterns of play. This implied that, despite the identical system, the team that executed their patterns more flexibly and accurately would gain the advantage. In the build-up, Amorim also conceded that Palace was doing everything better than us. The fuel tank factor, the foundation of the comeback. The fuel tank factor, the ability to sustain physical intensity, was the key to analyzing the match's reversal. Crystal Palace faced immense pressure, playing their 3rd match in a week, with a long trip to France just 3 days prior. Accumulated fatigue created significant weariness for the home side. Manchester United, in contrast, had an advantage in recovery time, and Amorim implemented a shrewd energy management strategy. He anticipated that the Palace squad would be more exhausted in the second half and instructed his MU players to be more alive and increase their work rate after the break to exploit this weakness. Amorim was explicit. We had a feeling that if we scored 1 goal, this would change everything. Amorim's identification of the accumulated physical difference as the basis for a comeback strategy was a crucial, data-driven tactical decision. First half, Palace dominance and MU's instability. The first half saw Crystal Palace completely dominate in pressing intensity and chance creation. Manchester United played awful and were second best in the first 45 minutes. Palace was rampant and deserved their lead. In the 36th minute, Jean-Philippe Mateta scored from the penalty spot after centre-back Lenny Yoro committed a foul from behind. Despite a VAR review requiring a retake due to a standing foot error, Mateta succeeded on the second attempt, giving Palace a 1-0 lead. Manchester United's 3-man defence, Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw, proved unstable and vulnerable, evidenced by Yoro's penalty conceding foul. Luke Shaw had to make critical blocks against Yeremy Pino and Eddie Nketiah to prevent Palace from extending their lead. A key event was the departure of Palace attacker Ismail Assar due to an ankle injury just before half-time. While the immediate impact was unclear, losing a sharp attacking threat weakened Palace's ability to exploit space in the second half. Second half, the exploitation of fatigue. Despite MU having more possession, 56.5% to Palace's 43.5%, the effectiveness of this control was extremely low, especially in open play. The shift in intensity in the second half confirmed Amorim's pre-match analysis. Manchester United played with higher intensity, and the opponent's fatigue began to show, creating a physical advantage that MU exploited fully. Coach Oliver Glasner did not shy away from the issue, admitting that his team's energy levels were not top after the schedule that we have. This exhaustion severely affected defensive organisation. Amorim observed that Palace struggled a lot to get the ball out of the box late in the game, a classic sign of physical decline leading to slow reactions and positional errors. Glasner explicitly stated that the second goal was bad because the team took too long to reorganize after a quick free kick, a direct consequence of the lack of alertness due to fatigue. Mew's stolen set-piece strategy. In the context of limited open play effectiveness, Manchester United turned set pieces into the primary strategic weapon. Mew's XG set play reached 0.98, indicating their reliance and extraordinary efficiency in this area. Coach Ruben Amorim publicly emphasized the importance of set pieces in the Premier League, even humorously acknowledging that Mew was stealing set-piece routines from opponents to improve their scoring record. This strategy allowed Mew to compensate for deficiencies in open play attack and build confidence. This victory continued Mew's trend of scoring from set pieces away from home in November, following goals from corners against Nottingham Forest and Tottenham. The 9-minute explosion. Mew's comeback began in the 54th minute. Joshua Zirkzee equalized from a clever free kick by Bruno Fernandes. Zirkzee displayed excellent individual skill by controlling the ball, turning, and finishing neatly into the near post, ending his 364-day Premier League goal drought. This goal combined tactical preparation with individual technique, delivering a strong psychological shock to Palace. Just 9 minutes later, 63rd minute, Mason Mount scored the winner. This was a perfect example of exploiting opponent exhaustion. Fernandes took a quick free kick, and Mount unleashed a low shot through a crowded box, securing the 2-1 victory. The goal stemmed from Palace's lack of focus and loose defensive organisation, which coach Glasner conceded, demonstrating the effectiveness of Amorim's second-half intensity strategy. Key individual performances. Joshua Zirkzee's equaliser was a moment of individual brilliance, not only changing the score but also relieving psychological pressure on the striker, who had gone 24 appearances without a goal. Zirkzee showed a distinct quality in ball control in the second half, as noted by Amorim, proving that even when Mew's open play was stagnant, individual talent could make the difference. Bruno Fernandes was the nucleus of the victory, architecting both goals with 2 set-piece assists. His attacking output was high with 4 chances created and 7 passes into the final third. More impressively, Fernandes demonstrated an incredible work rate, fuel tank. He recorded 10 defensive actions in the game. For an attacking midfielder and captain, this is a remarkable number, showing Fernandes was not just the creative brain but also the engine driving the team's pressing and defensive intensity. His relentless work helped Mew maintain the necessary pressure in the second half as Palace faded. With these 2 assists, Fernandes surpassed Paul Scholes, 55, to reach 56 assists, solidifying his 4th position on Mew's all-time Premier League assists list. Diogo Dalot delivered a solid performance at wing-back, keeping Daniel Munoz quiet and contributing effectively to the attack. Lisandro Martinez's return to the bench after a knee injury since February was also a crucial morale boost for Mew, although he was not used in the match. The Crystal Palace 1-2 Manchester United match is a clear demonstration of intensity management and the impact of a packed schedule on tactical performance in the Premier League. Crystal Palace played excellently and dominated the first half, but the lack of an extra fuel tank after their European commitment meant they could not sustain that intensity. The exhaustion was reflected in a decline in defensive organisation, leading to the concession of 2 goals from set pieces. As coach Glasner admitted, the delay in reorganising was a direct result of the physical fuel tank running empty. This defeat ended Palace's 12-match home unbeaten streak and emphasises that, in modern football, fitness is the foundation upon which tactics are built. While the comeback victory, Mew's 4th away win in London in the last 27 trips, showed resilience and a change in mentality under Amorim, it also highlighted a dangerous dependency. The fact that they failed to score a single goal from open play is a worrying truth. It suggests that Amorim's core tactical issue remains unresolved. The 3-4-3 system is still vulnerable to pressing and lacks effective breakthrough capability in live ball play. However, Amorim succeeded in turning set pieces into a strategic weapon, an effective solution to compensate for weaknesses in open play. A victory based on exploiting opponent fatigue and set-piece efficiency is a new strength but is unsustainable if Mew aims to compete for a top 4 spot. To achieve that, Mew must find flexibility and new attacking patterns to avoid over-reliance on opponent fatigue or set-piece situations. This victory has moved Manchester United up to 6th place, just 1 point behind 4th. It has temporarily eased the pressure on Amorim. However, the challenge for the coaching staff is to significantly increase the XG open play in the upcoming rounds. Otherwise, opponents will easily neutralize Mu by focusing on defending set pieces and continuing to apply high pressure on their fragile defense. Mu needs to develop a stronger tactical fuel tank, parallel to the physical fuel tank they successfully exploited in this match.